In life, there are moments when a small act of generosity leads to unexpected opportunity. With this little youngster, that was the situation. His entire world fell apart after he lost his job for assisting a crippled guy. But what occurred next will bring tears to your eyes. In a terrible accident, Lucas Brown, being barely 18, lost both of his parents. Being the only child, he was forced to live by himself in the house they constructed. He barely made it by every day for 2 years, thanks to the funds his parents had left behind. But he was unable to continue his study due to financial constraints. Lucas made the decision to acquire employment since he didn't want to become homeless. He could then take care of himself and meet his fundamental requirements in that way. Luckily, he was able to secure employment as a grocery cashier. He got along well with the patrons and liked his job there. They quickly grew to adore him for his kindness. Mr. Benjamin, his supervisor, never gave a damn about the way he handled the store patrons. Instead, he was a sour, middle-aged man who was focused solely on getting money. Lucas's charity one day altered his life forever. When a man entered the store that he had never seen before, it was not a bright Friday afternoon. The man was crippled and walking with a limp on 2 movable elbow crutches. Lucas saw that the man was having difficulty pushing the shopping cart and was finding it difficult to obtain the items he needed. As the guy served other clients, he watched him closely. After a few minutes, the guy was standing directly before him. The small youngster grinned broadly and said hello to the man. "Young man, how are you doing? You have the most amazing personality. Mr. Robert is my name." "And you? What say?" the guy said. Lucas introduced himself to him, but he wanted to know why the man was using crutches. "Are you a combatant?" he inquired. "Indeed, I am. I was in the military and lost a limb. Although I do have a prosthesis, I will need to use these crutches for a while because my stump is ulcerated. Although it hasn't been simple, I'm not grumbling. I'm happy to still be here." Mr. Roberts smiled and answered, "I'm doing much better than some of my colleagues I served with." Lucas was sympathetic to the man, but he soon noticed that Mr. Robert was having trouble using his crutches to walk and handle the bags at the same time. He bellowed, "Hold on, sir! Let me help you!" all of a sudden. Lucas requested the other customers waiting in line to move on and give him a few minutes. He then went up to the man and gave him assistance with his shopping bags. He said Mr. Robert farewell after assisting him in getting into a cab. His supervisor was standing with his arms folded as soon as he returned to the grocery. The ferocious expression in his eyes told him his employer was furious. "How have you been spending this time? How can you quit your work to pursue another opportunity?" There was no one to serve them. Therefore, several customers had departed. "I was forced to fill in for you." Speaking loudly, Mr. Benjamin yelled. Lucas gave his supervisor an explanation for why he had to assist a crippled guy with his groceries. A shopper interrupted the grocery owner as she was ready to answer, saying, "Please be gentle with this young man. He has a golden heart and saves lives." I waited patiently as he assisted the man. The other patrons gave a nod of agreement. Mr. Benjamin seemed to be ashamed and smiled, but he was actually furious. What made him so stupid? The guy wondered. Doesn't he know we'd lose more money by leaving his post? Once the workday ended, he summoned Lucas to his workspace. There was a brown packet in his hands. Regretfully, Mr. Benjamin showed little concern for the way he handled the shoppers at the grocery store. He gave the lad the envelope as soon as he entered his office and said, "Listen to me. I don't care what those customers said earlier today. Your purpose here is not altruism, it's work. Are you aware of the amount we lost today as a result of your job departure? Hey, money talks in this industry. Money really is everything in life, but you are unable to comprehend it. I'm tired of your negative outlook. You've got the boot." Lucas found it hard to believe. He didn't understand why he was dismissed by his boss for lending a helpful hand to a stranger. He knew that pleading for pardon would not accomplish anything. After gathering the brown envelope, he left the supermarket. The 20-year-old was so upset and preoccupied with his thoughts that he was unaware when tears began to fall down his cheeks. He realized he needed to get a new job quickly because he had no one to support him. He began his job search the next morning. Sadly, days stretched into weeks, and he was still unable to find employment. He was quite concerned. He had no idea that his life was about to take an irreversible turn. He was waiting for a bus into the city at the bus station one sunny morning so he could get on with his job quest. He was lost in meditation, his parents' memories replaying themselves. He thought back to how he never had to fight to have anything. Everything was well till they died. If you two were here right now, Mom and Dad, I wouldn't be in this mess. With tears streaming down his face, he muttered, "I genuinely miss you both." Abruptly, a black vehicle approached him, and he heard a well-known voice say, "Hey, young fellow, what is the issue? Need help getting to the grocery store? I'm confident I can assist you with it." Lucas recognized him as the crippled guy he had assisted a few weeks prior. He said, "Hello, Mr. Robert. It is good to see you once more. But I'm not heading to the grocery store. I was dismissed there, therefore I don't work there anymore." The old guy appeared surprised. He was baffled as to why. Lucas was questioned why he was dismissed after he was led into his car. Lucas was hesitant to divulge, but in the end, the veteran's perseverance paid off. "My boss fired me because I helped you," Lucas stated. He remarked that assisting people wasn't part of my profession, and that I had been away from it for too long. Mr. Robert broke out in sadness because he thought he was to blame for Lucas's bad luck. Mr. Robert inquired as to any other employment options other being a cashier. In response, the boy said, "Well, I'm very good at drawing. I had always wanted to attend college and study architecture since I was a little child. But I had to give up my childhood aspirations and hunt for a job because I lost my parents a few years ago." In a short while, Mr. Robert asked in his soothing, deep voice whether he would want to return to college and pursue his desired course. "I can assist you since I am the CEO of an investing company." Lucas found it hard to believe. He instantly took the man up on his offer. Not only that, but the man gave him a monthly stipend that was quadruple his pay from the grocery. He enrolled in a metropolitan college a few months later. After 4 years, he had finished his education. Soon after graduating, he secured a lucrative job. He was lounging at a restaurant one weekend when he noticed a familiar face. Mr. Benjamin, his former employer, was identified, but something didn't seem quite right. The man had an odd appearance. Lucas walked over to his old employer, who knew who he was right away. "Sir, good afternoon. You appear distressed. Is everything in order?" Mr. Benjamin told him that he was unable to pay his bills, which was the reason his firm was going bankrupt. It was a young man who pitied his old employer. After some time, he informed Mr. Benjamin would lend him a hand. The man was taken aback and felt guilty about the way he had handled him some years before. He collapsed to his knees and started sobbing. "You decided to help me even though you know I don't deserve it. I apologize for all I did to offend you. Pardon me, please. You were correct. This world needs more love, not more money." Grinning, Lucas took up his former employer. He informed him that he had long since forgiven him. He settled the man's loan the following day, keeping his company afloat. Since then, Lucas has continued to be among the finest clients of the shop. What then have you taken away from Lucas's tale? Post your ideas in the comments section. Until we meet again,